Thank you very much, Tim. And thank you all, I suppose. Yeah, I'm just going to not waste any time. We've got a long little bit of waiting coming up, so Killer, why don't you give me a countdown real quick?
All right, let's have a run in 3, 2, 1, go.
And we're off. So yeah, I'm dtail74. With me, I have KillerChair.
Hi, I used to run this game back in the day.
Yep.
Would you like the result of the bid war for the language choice?
Oh shit! Sorry. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, you know
Good
what?
call.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yep.
Hang on. What are we doing,
Apologies.
people?
Right. One final refresh here then. I think there was a runaway winner. Yep, with 50 euros, we have Spanish.
Spanish it is. All right.
So we'll go with that. Thank you so much for your generous donations towards that.
Just give us a minute while the console reboots. Won't take long. It's the Switch after all. And then we'll be right on our way. I totally forgot about that. All right. I've never played the game in Spanish before, so I'm curious to see what all the item names are. That'll be interesting. So let me just boot that back up here.
We're going to have a good old discovering session on all
I
of
remember
the words.
last time we did this 2 years ago, it was German, and most of the item names were sort of unchanged, and it was really sad and boring.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate. Let's see how Spanish does. I'm not going to be able to pronounce any of this, and I'm not going to try. All right, so one more time.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
There we are. Much better. Okay, so to start off, what category is this to begin with? This is any percent NMG. I have ran this before at BSG, but NMG meaning no major glitches. It's just a less broken version of a usual sort of any percent run, where we're not going to go out of bounds. We're not going to do axis skew, camera lock, a lot of other crazy stuff. We're just going to ignore that. And so we're playing on the most recent patch, which is nice because none of the glitches that we want to do have been made impossible on that. But the most important thing about today's run specifically is that we are running on dread mode, and there it is. Oh dear. So yeah, everything one shot kills me, with a couple exceptions. But for right now, everything one shot kills me. So it's going to be a jolly old time. That's why the estimate for this is so high. Any percent NMG does not really take all that long. It's a category that I can complete in less than an hour and a half. But in dread mode, if you have to reset back a minute or so, every time you take one silly little hit, that's a lot. You lose a lot of time to that. So starting off here, this being a Metroidvania, we sort of don't have a lot of abilities. We can run, jump, shoot, wall jump, climb up ledges, this type of stuff, sort of basic movement. That's about it.
And parry.
And parry, yes. Like right there, that was the little parry introduction. Very useful ability, especially in dread mode, because it helps keep you safe. There we are.
And after a parry, you also get like an instant powered up shot, like a charged shot would once we get charge beam.
Yep. Hey, Killer, why don't you explain pseudo waves?
Yeah, so pseudo waves are weird. You can kind of like wedge your gun slightly out of the hitboxes of the floor and the ceiling and all that in order to just shoot into wherever something else may be on the other end. Yep. So we can break blocks that we're really not supposed to just sequence break a whole bunch of things in the game.
Very useful. We do it twice back to back right at the start of the run to get into the Corpius boss fight here a little bit early. This is tough. I'm going to focus up, and the host can read something if they have something.
I do indeed. We have received 5 euros from someone who says, Metroid Dread? Sorry. Do you mean Metroid Bread? Metroid Bagel? Metroid Brioche?
Oh no.
Sorry. Metroid Baguette? Good luck, Detail. May the baguette bless your run, RNG, and have a grand time. Donation goes towards your choice. Thank you so much.
I feel like a joke's been made, but I don't baguette it.
I told you he was going to say that. I said to Alette earlier, I said he was going to say that, and here we are.
I mean, you gotta loaf the puns, right?
Gosh. All right, well, thank you all very much. I'll think about that donation later. I'm not going to do that right now. I get the sense that there might be bread behind me from the laughter in the crowd.
It smells good.
Anywho, nice first try Corpius there. On dread mode, that is exceptional, honestly. It doesn't happen to me a lot that I manage to do that. And that gets us the Phantom Cloak ability. I already don't know what it was called in Spanish. I'm really sorry. That is going to allow us to turn invisible, which is naturally very useful for evading enemies, but mostly we need it to just get through motion sensor doors because, well, we need to do that in order to beat the game. There's just a couple motion sensor doors you can't possibly skip, so that ability is hard required.
Yeah, other than that, it's not really useful for much.
No.
You're supposed to use it during like the enemy chases and such.
And it will come into play a couple of times for that, but like it's not really needed for any of that stuff. Honestly, one of the main use cases for it is coming up in just a minute here, where I'm going to do another trick called Artaria Water Skip. Having the Phantom Cloak allows us to manipulate our movement in such a way, because it slows you down when you use it, right? It allows us to manipulate our movement such that that trick becomes a tiny bit easier, which is nice.
Speaking of movement, there's a lot of very small things that you'll constantly see, like sliding off of edges, for instance. Makes you drop a little bit faster, and grabbing onto ledges and jumping right up.
Yep. And underwater in particular, it's interesting. When I grab onto a ledge underwater, I have to jump backwards before I can jump over the ledge, just because of the way that water affects your physics. So that was Artaria Water Skip right there, by the way. I used the Phantom Cloak to sort of manipulate my movement a little bit. That saves maybe like 20 seconds. It prevents us from having to do this whole little physics puzzle down there. So that's nice. And coming up, we immediately have another tiny sequence break, much like that one, where I'm going to try to wall jump off of this here wall in a particular way. Dang it. There we go.
There we go.
Cool. That's pressure pad skip. Does what it says on the tin, skips a pressure pad. It's not a whole big deal. It maybe saves like 10 seconds over doing it the intended way, but you know, hey, 10 seconds is 10 seconds, right? So far, the whole dread mode business isn't too big of a deal. You know, we've got all these little early game enemies with not a lot of health, and they move kind of slowly, so it's mostly fine. But that's gonna get worse. Don't worry.
Now we got the Rayo Cargado.
Rayo Cargado, yes.
Something like that.
It's the charge beam.
Yeah.
It's a classic. You know, anybody who's played any Metroid game will know what this does. Allows us to charge up our beam. It's more powerful that way. Also a bigger projectile, which is sort of useful because it makes it more lenient with the aiming. And it allows us to open charge beam doors, which is naturally very important. We're going to be doing that everywhere. Here we go. Now, we came through this room before, but the movement at the start there was slightly different due to the charge beam the second time around. All the rest of it is the same, though. Yep. I just don't have to do the pseudo wave now.
And do keep
Alrighty.
in mind, even when going through the same corridor again, it's basically equally as dangerous with all the enemies that can one-hit kill you.
Yep. So far, like I said, it's maybe not the biggest deal in the world, just because all of these enemies are relatively easy to avoid, but it's going to get worse. And even then, right, even if it's easy to avoid, if I mess it up just once, I die and I get set back by, on average, maybe about half a minute to a minute. Sort of depends on where. Right now, I'm just sort of going through Artaria, activating some switches, running through a bunch of doors now that we have the charge beam, trying to make our way to our next upgrade. We got a little bit of downtime if you want to read a donation.
Okay, thank you. We have received a very generous 50 euros.
Wow.
From 074 at home. Details final run this BSG. Go for it. As we say in Twents Dutch, take it easy and be quick about it. Thank you very much indeed.
En gaan en rabat. That'll be my folks. Shoutouts to my family. Love you all. All right, so having gone through that whole section, we activated a lava switch that diverted the sort of magma or whatever it is that powers this whole place. And so now we can enter through another couple of heat-based doors that are now active, like the one on the left here. And that's going to allow us to get to this next upgrade that I was talking about. Now coming up is another little skip that I'm going to have to do. This one's actually not necessarily fast, it's just required because of the skips that we've already done. We've locked ourselves out of doing this the normal way. So I have to do a silly little wall jump here called Magus Skip. It's a little bit difficult. There we go, alrighty.
Nice.
Very cool. There is a alternative to that where you would do a pseudo wave setup to destroy the block that's on the floor on the left side and then just fall down there. But I never really got that to work, so I've stuck with the older, more established trick. I like that one fine. And this is our first central unit fight. These are just little mini-bosses that we're going to have to fight several times throughout the run. The armored shell can only be damaged by missiles, at least for now. And then the brain on the inside can be damaged with anything. So I'll just use gunfire for that because the DPS is a little bit better. And also I actually kind of want to conserve some ammo because in Dread mode we start with 15 missiles, which isn't a lot in the end. Sort of makes the early game ammo management a little bit awkward.
I'm going to blow up our
Okay, I'm
first
going
enemy.
to try it. I don't think this works though. Okay.
That's very tight to just go right up into its face and blast them. That's really hard.
Yeah. This is a long cutscene. If you want to read something, go for it.
Okay. I apologize on behalf of BSG before reading this donation, by the way. And as soon as I say who it's from, you'll know why. €5 from Big the Dave. If this is Dread mode, why doesn't Seamus have her hair braided? Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Alrighty, so that gets us the, I'm not going to pronounce that. It's the spider magnet. It allows us to grab onto these blue surfaces, which can be found on walls and ceilings all throughout the game. So that's just going to be a very important ability for movement going forwards. We're going to use it everywhere. Like, for example, right here, to just climb up this wall, get on up here. Very nice. And then to open this little cover that's blocking the door, you just grab onto it and it falls down. It's nice. And having the spider magnet in tow, we can now make our way to the second region of the game, which is going to be Catarus. I am not supposed to go over there. There we go. Catarus is a sort of volcanic, like, fiery place, sort of like Norfair and some of the other Metroid games. And so there's a lot of things going kaboom or otherwise being detrimental to our health. So it's going to be actually a very stressful section for me for Dread mode specifically, just because there's a lot of hazards and enemies in annoying places and all that sort of stuff. So I'm probably going to be relatively quiet. It will give me a bit of an opportunity to talk about sort of what Dread mode's exceptions are, like I was alluding to at the start. That fire just there in that little tunnel, that still instant kills me, hence why I waited for it. But there's a couple things that don't. Mostly things that deal damage over time. So lava doesn't instant kill you. Heat damage from heat rooms before you've got the Varia suit doesn't kill you. And cold damage from cold rooms before you've got the gravity suit also doesn't kill you. Which is very convenient because this route is sort of predicated on the ability to damage tank through a couple of those rooms later on in order to get to where we want to be and sequence break some stuff. So if Dread mode actually made those instant kill as well, then we would have to reroute, and this would be a totally different speedrun from the normal 90% NMG. But luckily, it's not, so I haven't had to do too much adjusting, just aside from the fact that you really have to be locked in for this. Now, starting off Catarus here, I'm going to just precariously drop through some fire that looks like it should have hit me, but was luckily already technically over, so it won't, which is great. Very convenient, that. And then we're going to talk to Adam again. We've done this a couple of times now. This is our little robotic friend. But we don't really like talking to Adam because it locks you in the room until you finish speaking with him, and it takes a while because you have to skip through this whole cutscene, and then you don't want to save and all this stuff, and all of these animations take forever.
Most of what he talks about is the Emmy anyway.
Exactly. It's like you put it years ago. He's a little obsessed with them.
Yeah.
There we go. Normally, on regular any percent, I would have just tanked a hit from that enemy and just walked up here like a normal person, but unfortunately, I can't do that. You're going to hear me say that a lot. So I actually had to use the parry to quickly dispatch that. Luckily, convenient way to do that.
Ooh.
Unfortunate. I wasn't actually trying to climb up to that ledge. I was just trying to hang off of it and shoot the enemy before continuing. But, those types of tiny little errors are going to really, really hurt on Dread mode.
Yeah, this is what Dread mode is all about. Just everything is extremely lethal.
Yep. There we go. Now, speaking of Adam, what I was going to say before was we don't really want to talk to him, and so coming up, there's going to be a trick called Adam's Save Skip, which is one of the harder things in this run. It's a frame-perfect wall jump. You'll see it when we get there. But that's going to allow us to never need to speak with Adam again, which is very convenient because all of those cutscenes take a long time. There we go. Climb up here. Boom, boom, boom. So yeah, we've mostly made it out of the sort of dicey part of Catarus 1 here. I say Catarus 1 because in true Metroid fashion, we're going to be doing a lot of backtracking. So in my mental map of the run, you know, there's Catarus 1, Catarus 2, Catarus 3, Artaria 1, Artaria 2, and so on, just depending on how often we visit each area. But for now, we are mostly in the clear. Everything else from here in Catarus is pretty easy, with the exception of Adam's save skip. But at least there's not much of a chance to die anymore. There's a couple of places where it might happen, but it should hopefully be fine. So I'm just going to head on up here, and we're going to press another one of these lava switches, like the one that we saw earlier. This is sort of the way that this whole sequence operates, is you have to find these switches and press them and then follow the stream of fuel to wherever it goes, because it'll have opened a door somewhere where you can now access something that you previously couldn't, so that you can continue on, find another switch, divert the fuel somewhere else, and so on and so forth until you sort of get to the end of it, and we can make our way to the next region. So that's all I'm really doing here. This is another switch that's not like the others, but it does a similar thing. It just turns on this machinery so that we can pass up there. Now, I was trying to do a funny little trick there where after I shoot the thing, but before the cutscene starts, I slide back under that little wall. Would have been very nice, very fast, looks very smooth, but unfortunately I missed it. I'll get a chance at something similar in a minute, though. Here we are. There we go. Okay. Not getting killed by that enemy is a relief. I got my ass handed to me by that guy in practice. I died 3 times over in this bit, so very glad not to repeat that. I might die on the way back, but at least now the button is pressed. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit of a classic there. The enemy can sort of like spawn slightly left and right, and so what I should do is just, you know, take a second, stand still, see where he is before moving on. But yeah, screw it. I wanted to go fast, you know, so I didn't do that. But there we go. All good. Right there, I did a glitch called an instant charge to open that door a little bit quicker. Killer, why don't you explain that?
I mean, as best as I can, it is basically just something about turning around while trying to charge up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's if you release a charge shot that's in the middle of being charged while Samus is moving or spinning or some such, you can actually pretend like it's fully charged even though it's not. There we go. Very nice. Okay. That's a relief.
Good.
That was Adam's save skip. Innocuous though it seems, that is probably the single biggest sequence break we're going to do. Either that or early space jump, depending on your metric.
There's a lot of sequence breaks in this game. Like, people
so much.
broke it apart.
Oh, yeah. And, like, this is only NMG. Imagine the stuff that they do in Unrestricted. It's crazy. Oh, come on. There we go.
Hit it with the pseudo.
Another little pseudo wave to hit that button from through the wall. That way I don't need to slide under the wall. Because for this one, you can't set it up the way that you can for that first button, because the button is a little bit higher. And so you can't slide under the wall back to where we want to go after shooting the shot. Doesn't work. So instead, we do a little pseudo wave, clip the arm cannon through the wall so that we can hit it from over there anyway, and we don't need to ever go in there. Getting it third try like that probably means it didn't really save any time, but it's fine, whatever. Right here, I'm going to do a precarious little jump. It looks scary, but it really isn't. He never sees you there.
That Emmy, like, learning to navigate the green Emmy is initially an absolute nightmare.
It really is. It's
it
probably
is
the worst
one. Yeah.
There's a lot of different places for it to spawn, and so you just sort of have to get used to them, memorize the patterns. And so naturally I have, but there exists many a good clip of me getting very frustrated at that thing.
That's a mood.
It's a bit of a learning curve on that one. Now, luckily, we won't ever have to deal with him again. Not really. We are going to eventually destroy him and get another upgrade out of it, same way that we did with the first Emmy back in Artaria, but that'll come later.
That's a neat tank.
Yeah, you might be wondering, why would I grab a health upgrade if this is one-shot kill mode? It's because, like I was talking about before, not everything one-shot kills me, and we do need to damage tank through some cold rooms later on in order to get to where we're going. And so I'm going to need a little bit of extra health to actually be able to make that. So I'm going to pick up 2 energy tanks throughout the run just to make sure I can do that safely. There we go.
I'm still holding on to the baguette, by the way.
I'll bet you are. I'm not going to look behind me for fear of getting bonked.
I can just, there it is. Want a bite?
Not right now, thank you.
Thought I'd offer.
Maybe later, you know, midnight snack.
We might need to get
some garlic oil.
It's basically a second commentator at this point.
I put a headset on it? It's not a bad idea.
It's just to lean it next to me, put a headset on it.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's,
Oh no. All right, what's his name, Casey?
oh god, what's a good baguette name?
Anybody have any suggestions for what the baguette should be called?
Has to be a French name, right?
Surely.
I'm hearing some people yell things, but I can't quite make it out what it is. So
Me neither.
I'm gonna opt to call him Philippe.
Philippe is good.
Yeah.
I like Philippe. All right, hello, Philippe.
Yep.
Welcome to the couch. Anyway.
Next zone, different zone. We're in a different zone.
Yep, this is Dyron. This is this whole sort of mechanical, like factory-style region. There's all of these booby traps and stuff, but there's also still wildlife around. It's been deserted, and some of the power is off, like in this room right here. So I'm gonna need to turn the power back on before we can actually advance, because some of the doors are locked right now. So I'm just gonna navigate through this little dark room here. Alley-oop. Shoot this, get down here, and that brings us to the power station.
So
Which-
we're not just turning on the lights, we're also like activating doors and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you know, the lights really aren't going to matter too much. That room obviously wasn't super dark even
No.
now. And even if it was, I know where to go, right? It doesn't matter. It's fine. But the doors very much are a bit of a big deal. We can't like clip past them or anything like that. Certainly not in NMG, but I'm pretty sure you just can't do it at all. So we do actually really need that. Thank you. Leo Ancho. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. We'll call this one the anchovies beam.
Obtenido.
Obtenido. Neither of us speak Spanish, I don't think.
Nope.
Anyway, this is the wide beam. It makes it so that our beam is now wide. You know,
I would have never
what
guessed.
a surprise. Oh dear. Okay, there we go. Go past that. Cool. Okay. That was terrifying. The wide beam is going to allow us to open wide beam doors, move wide beam boxes, and so on and so forth. And it's also just convenient because not only does our beam attack now do more damage, it is also easier to aim because, you know, the projectile is bigger. So I don't need to be quite as on point with my marksmanship as I needed to be before in order to hit targets. So that's very convenient. Wide beam boxes are notoriously rude, though.
Yeah,
Okay, thank goodness.
They're a bit finicky.
If that one hadn't worked, I would have had no way out, and that bat would have bitten me in the butt, and I would have
Yeah.
died. So I'm glad that didn't happen.
Also, those blocks and the doors for the wide beam, it's either a full charge shot or just rapid firing, so you kind of just always use a full charge shot to blast them open in one go.
Often, yes, but the issue you run into at that point is like, you know, you put one big shot in there, and you need to take a second
Yeah.
before you can shoot again, and then if it doesn't work, you're kind of sad. So I tend to use rapid fire anyway, but it sort of depends from door to door, like what the most convenient thing is at any given time. In a second, there's going to be a wide beam door that I'm going to hit with rapid fire, but earlier there's one that I would have normally done with a charge beam that just didn't work out this time. Anyway, having gotten the wide beam, we went right back to Caterus, as you might note. Reason for that is that now that we have the wide beam, we can actually go take care of the green Emmy, or Larry, as I like to call him. So we're just going to go do that right away, and that's going to give us a very important upgrade with which we will then actually make our way away from this area slightly more permanently. We've got another central unit fight coming right up, and then I'm going to just kill the Emmy. So I think this is a good time for the host to say something.
Okay, no problem at all. You are watching the Benelux Speedrunner Gathering Annual 2024, coming to you live from the Hotel Asteria from Van Rij, the Netherlands. We are raising money for Mind. All your donations do go towards Mind. Please, please keep your donations coming in. We have raised a fantastic 4,390 euros so far. Thank you so much to all your generous donations. Please, please, please keep these coming in. We do have a couple of bid wars open at the moment. We've got the Kyogre name for Pokemon. We've currently got Whale Lord in the lead there. Wally in second place. Nez OSD and Roar as other options there. We've also got our Chimchar name as well. You can name the Chimchar as well if you want to get your donations in for that. Back over to you.
Thank you very much.
Morphosphera Obtenido.
Morphosphera. That's a really good name, though. That sounds really cool, actually.
Yeah.
No, so this is the morph ball, right? If you've played any Metroid games, you'll know this one. This is the like bread and butter of Samus's like kit. It's we can turn into a ball now, so we can go into these little tunnels and things. Very useful. We're going to be doing it constantly. It's also a means to do a couple of glitches later on. That's going to come into play as well. And right now we're just using it to make our way to a different part of Cataris that was previously inaccessible. And from there we're going to grab a teleporter back to Artaria, the first region of the game. And that's just going to lead us to yet another item, because when wouldn't it? This is a Metroidvania after all, so we're going to just be going from item to item basically the entire time. That's really never going to stop. We're going to get an item, I don't know, every 5 to 10 minutes during this entire run. So
The missile pack we just picked up is also a 10-pack missile, so it's not like a couple of them, it's just like a big chunk. It's very nice.
In fact, in regular any percent, I wouldn't go out of my way for that one. It's while it isn't slow, right? Clearly it's fast enough to be worth it here.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough for regular any percent, because on regular any percent we'd run on rookie mode, which would give us 30 missiles to start with rather than 15. So on dread mode here, I'm actually trying to sort of make up that deficit, because I do want to have 40-ish missiles by the time we get to the next boss fight. So hence that. So we're back in Artaria now, and this is actually a room that we've been in before. Right at the start of the run, I had to shoot all of these little guys and make our way through here. Then we did Artaria water skip, if you'll recall. But this time we're going to use the morph ball to head on up through this little tunnel network here. And that's going to bring us to a very precarious little place that's going to explode and be very fiery and full of death, which normally we would just damage tank through all of that. But on dread mode, I will get no such luxury. So we're probably going to be here for a little bit, because I tend to die at least a couple of times in this section. Let's see how it goes. We're going to hit this lava switch like we've been doing, only this time something goes wrong. There you go. Let me just...
In the meantime, I'll talk about the morph ball a bit, because they did a few really cool things when it comes to the morph ball in this game. For one, you just get your jump ball right away, so that's really convenient. But also, if you do the slide into a one-tile gap, you just automatically turn into morph ball. You don't have to do any additional inputs in it. Like, the game kind of fixes you into morph ball when you need to be.
Also, when you hang off of a ledge that leads into a tunnel, if you then press jump towards that ledge, the game will just turn you into a morph ball as well. It's very convenient.
They made movement in this game so smooth, and everything just works well together.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
Later on, you might see some speed booster shenanigans along with morph ball, and so much of it looks so good.
Forgive me for focusing up here. I really don't want to die
No problem
again.
at all.
There we go. Okay,
we've
made it past.
We can always ask our friend Pierre here, or whatever I called the baguette.
Philippe.
Yeah, Philippe, that was it.
I was supposed to shoot
Sorry,
that door.
Philippe. You're slouching a bit, buddy. Let me just
Get the door, please. Thank you. All right.
help you up.
Anyway, so for passing through the gauntlet of fire, lava, and death, we get the thing that protects us from fire, lava, and death. This is the Varia suit. It doesn't actually protect us from fire or lava. I lied. And in the case of dread mode, it also doesn't really protect us from death in any way, because, you know, the damage reduction that it would normally apply doesn't really help us. But it will protect us against heat rooms, like this one. The big orange glow signifies that it's a heat room, and so we no longer take damage from that. We never saw that come into play before, because I just sort of avoided all heat rooms. But yeah, that's no longer a problem, which is great, because we need to go through a whole bunch of heat rooms going forwards. And we would never be able to survive that.
I have fortified Philippe's upright position with some additional sonics.
Thank you. Very good.
Yeah.
I'm sure he won't fall over now. So, as you might have noticed by now, all of the area transitions between places in this game, whether they are lifts or these cool trains or teleporters, they all take forever. And that's actually the reason I'm running on a digital copy of the game rather than a physical one, because if the game has to sort of go through the cartridge with the system, then it takes longer to load. That's pretty standard. But for this game, the difference is actually huge. Over the course of an entire any percent NMG run, running on digital saves maybe a minute or 3. It's like actually very significant. So it's a little unfortunate, because I actually got a physical copy when the game first released, and so I had to pawn that off to a friend because there was no point to it anymore. But alas. Right here, again on any percent NMG, normally I would damage boost through these. I would just run past them by using my iframes, but I can't do that. I will try to jump over this one, though. Alley-oop, there we go, very smooth. And then parry this last one as well. Get that done, and then go right in here.
Yeah, you could just see how good the parrying mechanic is in this game.
We'll see that lava doesn't instant kill me, just in case you were curious. I wasn't lying. That's nice because just dipping my toe in the lava there is a tiny bit faster than doing anything else.
Well, welcome to our first major boss fight. It's Kraid. Somehow he's back.
Somehow, indeed. I still don't understand the lore, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it might be a species. That's, no, speculation, I guess. There might just be more than one of its kind.
That might be it. But the boss indicator on the map actually does say Kraid, so it's a little suspicious. You can see I'm sort of taking it slow here, really shooting all the projectiles, taking my time, because again, all of these instant kill me, right? I've said it before.
Yep.
So, you know, fighting Kraid on Dread mode, we can't go quite as hard as we normally would. I'm just playing it safe for my own sake, my own sanity, but also for the marathon, of course.
Yep.
If it was just me trying to PB, I might have gone a little bit crazier there, but nah, not today. So Kraid is a very simple boss fight. I just have to shoot the nails when he throws them, dodge his punches, shoot him in the mouth. Classic Kraid stuff. Come on, buddy. I know you're close. There we go. All right. I'm very glad to do that first try, just like with the Corpius boss fight earlier. That's very nice, because I don't always. Very happy about that. We even have some missiles left to blow open the missile cover without needing to farm first. That's convenient. The Rayo Diffusor, or whatever. Again, I don't speak Spanish. I'm really sorry. This is the diffusion beam, which makes it so that our charge shots now explode as soon as they hit something. And that explosion can go straight through walls. So we can now hit some of the blocks that we might have wanted to use pseudo waves for earlier without needing to do that, which is great. So we don't need to set up any glitches anymore. We can just sort of go. There are still exceptions to that, right? Some blocks are still out of our reach, and we will be doing more pseudo waves. Don't worry. Fans of pseudo waves have plenty of fun awaiting them. But the diffusion beam also will complement those, right? Because it sort of extends our reach a little bit, even when we are doing pseudo waves. So that's convenient. And it's also just a damage buff, so that's very nice as well.
Since we're on a loading screen, I think we've got time for some donations.
We definitely do.
We do have a couple here for you. First of all, we have €5 from Emmy, who says, much as I'd love to cheer on the Emmys, I'll cheer for Detail instead. Good luck from home.
Thank you, Emmy.
Thank you so much. And €5 from Juiced. Hey, Willow, some good old Smash advice for you that seems appropriate. Don't get hit. Good luck with your run.
I would take that advice if I were you.
Yeah, that was my plan. Don't worry.
Also, I think the Emmy that donated must have been the one that we skipped.
Oh, surely, yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, cool. You're leaving me alive? I'm down for that.
That was all the way at the start of the run when I did those two pseudo waves back to back. That not only sequence broke us to Corpius, it also skipped the first Emmy, which we just simply don't need to kill.
So there we abuse a little bit of coyote time to get like an extended jump and such. Get to the other end.
Very convenient. This isn't actually a sequence break this here. This is called early grapple. Well, okay, it's not a sequence break in the sense that we're not skipping any items or anything like that. The grapple beam is the next thing on our list, if you were looking at this from a casual perspective. But there's just a whole lot more around this area that we would be supposed to do otherwise to make our way there from a different angle. And we're just not going to do that. We're going to go in the back door instead by doing that little, just that little cute jump there. It's a little harder than it looks, so it took me a couple of tries, but so be it. I'm just glad I didn't fall in the lava. That would have been a death sentence, and we would have just had to go again from the teleporter. So very glad that that didn't happen.
Maybe I'm a little slow, but I do want to bring everybody's attention to the fact that we have changed the game. We are now playing Metroid Bread.
I see.
Excellent.
So,
I've also noticed that the Baguette is on the commentator list now.
Yes, we have Baguette SG joining us on the couch as well. So, yeah.
Excellent.
He somehow managed to fall over, though. So, you know, I'm trying to fortify again.
This is incredible. Thank you all so much. We wanted to do a bit like this back at BSG Annual 22, which was my first time going. So it means a lot to me that we're getting to do that now, actually. Thank you all so much. Organizing for giving us permission to do that. And Shadow Frost for getting the bread. I really appreciate all of that.
And thanks for having me again on the couch
Absolutely.
after last time's amount of puns.
When I decided to run Dread mode, or just to run Metroid Dread at all again, I said to myself, I want Killer again and I want Dian again.
Nice.
And I texted Dian and he unfortunately couldn't make it, so he's not here today. But we've got an excellent replacement, luckily, but I do miss him. Yeah, big shout out to Dian Keto. Love that guy. He got me here in the first place. I wouldn't have known about this event if it wasn't for him a couple of years ago. And he's a good friend of mine. Has been for a long time. Love
You
that
better
guy.
show up next time, buddy.
Yeah, for real. What the hell, dude?
We'll make it happen.
Nah, but we miss you. Anywho, all of that with early grapple, like I was saying, that gets us the grapple beam. And whoop-de-doo, I'm in the lava. There is no way to survive this. I'm just simply going to dance until I die. There we go. It doesn't make it go faster or anything. It keeps my hands warm. So yeah, there is a way out of the lava. All the way on the left side, there's a ledge you can grab onto and climb out of it. But unfortunately, we just simply don't have enough health to make it all the way over there. So falling in the lava is just a death sentence. We're going to go again. No big deal. Alley-oop. And there we go.
There we
All
go.
right. That's reverse early grapple. Very aptly named trick. We occasionally like to refer to it as late grapple because, you know, reverse early. It's funny, I guess. It sort of loses its charm after you've heard it maybe 0 times. But in any event, I'm doing more instant charges here to get through these charge beam doors faster. And that was our first instance of Adam's save skip coming into play. I did not need to talk to Adam there. Normally the doors would lock and you would have to talk to him before you can leave. But because of Adam's save skip, I don't have to do that. Very convenient. If you want more details on how that works, I recommend looking it up because I don't really have time to go into it right now. Haha, details. I'm so funny.
I was thinking it.
Yeah.
I would have made the joke if you didn't.
God, peas in a pod we are. Anywho, back in Dyron, now with the grapple beam, we can make our way over to this second little dark area where once again we're going to hit one of these power stations to turn the whole business back on. But before that cutscene starts, I'm going to try to shoot that block, but unfortunately I missed my angle. It would be nice to blow up that block before the cutscene starts, then I can get a sort of smooth little morph into the tunnel without needing to like stop and wait. But so be it. That's fine. Doesn't lose a whole lot of time or anything. Kaboom, and climb in. There we go. Now we're going to have to go through here again, actually, and these enemies will have respawned. Very unfortunate. Luckily, didn't die. Very good. And this here leads us to the bomb, which is bombas. That's not bad. I like that. I need some water. Hang on.
I hope you're a fast Spanish reader, people out there, because
There we go. All right. Pardon the little break there. Water is important. Everybody stay hydrated back there. Anyway, with the bombs, we can now sort of have a little attack in Morph Ball form, but mostly we're going to use it as a glorified door opener. Morph Ball bombs are the only thing that can blow up bomb blocks, or, well, you know, for now anyway.
yeah.
So those are going to be useful because there's just some bomb blocks blocking our way every once in a while. And also they allow us to use Morph Ball tunnels, which are also just required occasionally to actually make it through some of these regions of Dyron mostly. So those are going to be very nice to have. We're also going to use them for a couple of little sequence breaks and one bigger one later on, where they're going to be very important indeed. But we'll get to that in maybe an hour or so. But right now, we're taking our newfound items, the grapple beam, the Varia suit, Morph Ball bombs, all of this stuff, and we're heading west to a new area for the first time in quite a while. The first maybe half hour of this game, half hour, 40 minutes in Dread mode, is sort of contained within these first 3 regions. They form this sort of big triangle. There's a lot of different ways that you can travel between the 3. But now we're finally venturing out of that little bubble, and we're going to Barinia, the sort of oceanic region. It's this like research station that's embedded on the side of an underwater cliff. It's actually really atmospheric. The music is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love this place. In fact, shout out to a friend of mine, a Variety Pack, who did a really cool strings arrangement of this song that's about to play. So shout outs to her. Anyway,
This is definitely one of my favorite zones.
it really is. It's beautiful. I mean, look at the rain. Look at these seas.
The water, just the waves. It's so good.
It's so beautiful. Now, obviously, we're not going to spend any time sightseeing. I'm really sorry. I would love to. Maybe if I unexpectedly have to go somewhere, we'll leave the game standing in that room for a second. But, okay, yeah, this still works. Cool. I almost messed that up, but we're fine. Just going to jump up here. So that was the first instance of actually using the Phantom Cloak for its intended purpose. That laser beam, again, normally I would just damage tank through it, but I can't do that. So instead, I turn invisible so that that enemy doesn't even actually shoot the laser beam to begin with until I'm already past him. Very convenient, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to make it past there without dying. In which case, we didn't really make it past there, did we? So never mind. But that's convenient. Now, making my way through all of these wet little rooms to get yet another upgrade, wouldn't you know it? I'm sort of abusing coyote time a lot once again. I'm combining a lot of different movement techniques that we have and haven't covered throughout this run. I'm using... Ooh, cool. I was going to say I'm using bombs to kill these enemies because they create this sort of vortex, and if you put a bomb in there, you know, they eat the bomb and die. It's a classic.
Yep.
But unfortunately, I put that bomb slightly too far to the right, so that didn't quite work.
And outside of Dread mode, there's just so much here you can just damage tank going along the way.
I would damage tank those guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give any kind of crap. But nah, right now we just have to suck it up and play the game as intended, more or less, at least with regards to those enemies. So I do have to do all of that again. So if the host wants to say something, feel free.
Oh yes, I've always got something to say. We have just received, however, a little donation here. I'm not quite sure what to think of this one, really. We have €5 from the yeast of your problems.
Oh boy.
That just says, eat the baguette. Do it.
At this point, he's become a friend. I don't
I
feel
would
wrong.
strongly recommend against that. We don't want to eat the co-commentator.
We really don't. No, that seems a little bit inappropriate.
It does definitely seem wrong. But I would like to thank you for your generous donation. Remember, all your donations are going towards Mind. Please, please keep your donations coming in. We're actually sitting at €4,405 raised in total.
There we go.
Could we break the €4.5 mark? €4,500 mark in this run? I don't know. Let's see.
Surely we can,
We
right?
should.
Back over to you.
Thank you very much. All right, I made it through there this time, more or less safely, which gets us the flash shift, the impulso subito. All right. Again, I don't know how to read Spanish.
This is, in my opinion, by far the coolest upgrade. This is such a cool power-up.
It is. I think I might be a little too poisoned from the speedrun to really appreciate it properly anymore. Because unfortunately, the main thing that the flash shift does is it makes you go very fast, very often. And so in the speedrun, that's naturally very valuable. And so we are going to be using it literally every few seconds for the entire rest of the run.
But not underwater.
But not underwater. You can't use it underwater. But I just... You know, you get a bit sick of hearing that sound effect literally like 1,000 times every time you do one of these. So it's... I don't know. Maybe I don't appreciate it as much as I used to. I think my favorite upgrade is still coming up. But we'll get to that in a bit. Right now, I'm using my upgrades that we've already collected to make my way through this very wet little room. And I'm going to do the first of the bomb sequence breaks that I was talking about. You can see here. Yep, there we go. That's called an underwater bomb jump. Since it's a bomb jump that's underwater, it makes sense. But you wouldn't normally be able to go quite that high with an underwater bomb jump because the game caps you at a certain height. Because you're not supposed to, you know, just sort of cheese through all of these underwater sections. You know, on land, you can bomb jump as high as you like. It doesn't matter. But not so much underwater. But by placing a bomb and getting shot up by it, then unmorphing before we hit the ground, then placing another bomb in midair, unmorphing before we hit the ground again, and jumping back up, morphing again, and getting shot up by that bomb, we can actually extend the reach of our bomb jump by just a little. And that's just enough to actually make it up to that platform just there and skip sort of having to go through the long upward little tunnel section of that room. It doesn't save all that much time, maybe like 6 to 10 seconds at most. But it is naturally useful.
You will, however, be seeing more underwater bomb jumps later because they're very, very important.
Yep, there will be 3 more? And those are much more important than this one.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, got hit in the face with a cactus spike there. Not my finest moment. Terrible way to go, I should think. But we're just going to try again because luckily this is a video game. I'm not going to think about how that must have felt for Samus. I don't really want to think about it. We're back in Dyron now, but from a different exit. Barinia and Dyron have 2 little train connections between them. And so we're in a slightly different part of this place now. And from here, with our newfound abilities, we can make our way to a central unit, just as before, which we're going to use to take out the Dyron Emmy, or the yellow Emmy. So I'm going to actually have to focus up for this. Hang on.
Yep. So these units get like progressively busier with the things you need to dodge and pay attention to. Again, outside of Dread mode, it's really not that much of a problem, but because everything is one hit, just having more things on the screen at any one point just becomes a lot of things to think about.
This is easily the worst one of the bunch, because starting from the next one, we're going to actually have a couple other abilities that are going to make them way easier. But for this one specifically, there's just the perfect balance of what I'm able to do versus what the game is throwing at me to make it really, really difficult. So I'm glad I got through that first try. Again, like that's actually a really difficult section. The central units are normally like trivial, but that one specifically in Dread mode, very difficult. So I'm glad I got that right.
So I believe you waited here just a little bit for unleashing the big blast against the Emmy, and that is because if you now get this cutscene, you're already a floor lower, so you don't have to walk around.
Yep, exactly right. Waiting for the Emmy to sort of get to a part of the ceiling where it's going to fall down here rather than on that platform up there takes significantly less time than us having to walk off the ledge. The difference is obviously very small, but hey, you know, we'll take what we can get.
Yep.
And that gets us the acceleration, I believe, is what that said. Which I think this is probably my favorite upgrade. You can sort of see all the crazy things that we're already doing. This is the speed booster. And I'm going to charge up this Shine Spark here, jump off this, and unfortunately screw it up. So be it. I'll immediately just go get another one.
Yeah,
if I'd done it right, I could have kept my speed boost all the way over here, and it would have been really cool, but whatever, so be it.
Here's the other E-Tank.
There's the other E-Tank. That'll be the last one we get.
But yeah, with the speed booster, you could see that like you can keep it in this game through wall jumps, through slides, through morph ball. It's such a flashy ability.
It's still a little bit erratic, though. I almost fell down there. Well, I mean, I did fall down. There's just not any repercussions to that. So, you know, luckily it happened there, not somewhere else. Anywho, that gets us to yet another new area for the first time in, again, quite a while. This is Farenia, and this is sort of a temple of sorts. This is like a stronghold for the Chozo people that once colonized this planet. And so we are going in there to find some answers to some stuff. There's a whole bunch of plot going about. There's going to be a big, long cutscene later, but I'm just going to skip through that, luckily. We're only going to be in here for just a second. We only actually need to be here to trigger the cutscene that I was just talking about, because that's going to open up a sort of big door elsewhere where we wouldn't have been able to pass otherwise. Beyond that, there's really nothing of value here for us right now. We are going to just pick up a missile tank while we're here, just because it's right there, and there's really no reason not to, but so be it. I messed up that Shine Spark, by the way. I was supposed to sort of keep that spark until out of the tunnel, and then even keep it up into the next room where I could use it to Shine Spark up through all of those little enemies rather than shooting them. Would have been faster, but that's okay. This here is a robot Chozo soldier, and now these are quite annoying on Dread mode as well. Here we go, that's one. Need to do that again real quick.
You just about have enough space to set up a Shine Spark, and then you need to not get hit and still get the spark into the boss, kill them too.
There I skipped that cutscene. You didn't even see it start. But trust me, there's a cutscene there. I'm not lying to you. And here we'll use the speed booster to make it through this little wind tunnel, charge up another Shine Spark, and this is what I was talking about. There's just a missile tank right here. Doesn't cost a whole lot of time to grab it. We're going to go do that.
You can do Shine Sparks diagonally from Morph Ball.
It's so sweet. It's the speed booster in this game is really cool. Unfortunately, in any percent, you know, we're sort of going through the game really quickly, and there's not a lot of things that are really of interest to us. We're going to pass by a lot of items and stuff, of course, because we don't need them. But if you're at all interested in sort of the way that this game is, I highly recommend you check out things like 100%, where the speed booster gets a lot more time to shine. They do some really crazy things where they speed keep across slopes, and then they morph ball, and they unmorph again and wall jump to reverse their momentum and do all sorts of crazy things. They keep the speed booster sometimes for a minute at a time, and it's really cool. Can't recommend it enough.
And if you haven't played this casually, do it. And that's the thing that I say nowadays. Give the game a go. It's great.
It's a really good game. Okay. She doesn't usually grab onto that ledge. I have seen it before, but it's uncommon. Anywho, we're sort of making our way back through a section of Dyron that we have been in before. We're just sort of going through it at a slightly different, like a slightly different order, so that we can get back over here to the exit to Barinia. This is the same exit we used the first time, because this Barinia is where the big door that I was talking about earlier is, the one that's open now after that cutscene. So that's where we're trying to get. So we do the exact same movement here, more or less, minus a few flash shifts, which we can do now, which is great. On Dread mode, I unfortunately have to take the time to kill that cactus guy. There's a cool little thing you do here, just a little meme thing. It's called Oats Boost, where you get a cactus spike to fly through the door into this room with the transporter, and you get hit by it on your way as you're walking towards there. Doesn't save any time, barely loses any, but it does lose a little. But it's just something that Oats and Goats was doing when he was running this game when it first came out, just for the fun of it. And I don't know, it stuck with me, so I'm still doing it. There's no point to it, but it's fun. Anywho, that brings us back to Barinia, and Barinia 2 is actually like very difficult. So I'm gonna keep quiet here and try and make it work.
Totally fair.
If the host has anything, now is a good time.
Okay, I do indeed. We would like to have a big shout out to Gigabyte for generously providing us with a gaming PC equipped with an RTX 3080 graphics card for our event. This machine is sure to give our guests the perfect setup to practice their games. Thank you, Start again. Put the teeth back in, Tim. Thank you, Gigabyte, for supporting our event. Thank you so much. Remember all your donations. We're raising money for Mind, which is a nationwide organization committed to preventing mental health issues. Mind strives to provide support to individuals and families facing mental health challenges. All of your donations go towards Mind. We currently have €4,405. Let's see how much more we can raise. Thank you so much. Back over to you, Detail.
I'm unfortunately still busy, so Killer, if you would.
Hey, yeah, no worries. I mean, I would at least like to say that genuinely raising money for like a mental health-based charity is such a good thing. Yeah, we need more mental health awareness in the world and ways to deal with things. So, super thanks for doing this.
All right, and with that, we've more or less passed all of the difficult parts here. Now I just have to do this cute little trick. This is a pseudo wave involving the diffusion beam, like I was alluding to earlier. There, perfect, first try.
Very good.
Very nice. And now this is actually something else I forgot to mention at the start of the run. This is another exception to the rule that everything kills us instantly. The Phantom Cloak, if you hold it too long, it stops using our energy from the Aeon energy bar at the top, and it starts just depleting our health, our actual energy, because Metroid names are stupid. But that damage, luckily, doesn't instant kill you either. So sort of a good rule of thumb for whether something instant kills you or not is if it was produced by an enemy. It probably does. Because even environmental effects that do damage over time, like heat or lava, if they were like put there by an enemy that spits lava or something, then that will still instant kill you. So that's generally the rule. At that point, you start thinking about, what is an enemy? Because all of the like automated turrets and stuff, they also instant kill you, right? So, you can't really make a catch-all definition, but that's sort of the idea, right? If it's actively hostile to you in some way, then it probably instant kills you, and otherwise it probably doesn't. All right, here we go. This part is also quite difficult, so once again, I'm going to keep quiet.
Another mid-boss type situation. These things are pretty tanky, can take a lot of hits. You can, when you go into the room, get one shine spark off. There's no space in the room itself to do another. So after that, you just have to shoot missiles or charge beams or just spam your shots. Just whatever works, really.
Best DPS for this is using missiles.
Yeah. Occasionally, the mid-boss will be able to do an attack that you can parry and get a big blast off back at him. However, they're kind of RNG on which move they want to use.
No luck so far. Oh, dear. Okay, well, we're doing this the hard way. Here we go. Please give me the parryables. Nope. Okay.
The one thing that you can kind of manipulate is their position, because they want to like visually see you, and they always kind of hop between certain spots on ledges, depending on where you're standing.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So close to dead. Please die.
Honestly, probably the best thing to see is the charge blasts from these creatures themselves. Forgot what they're named, but the charge blast is just one attack you dodge, and they stand still for a minute before they do anything.
I can't believe that the attempt on which I did that successfully was the one where I messed up the shine spark. That's kind of ridiculous. All right, we've sort of been glossing over the fact that we've entered another new area. That's where that whole business in Barinia 2 was leading us. There we go, very tight little jump there.
Welcome to Gavaran, there's jungle stuff.
Yep, Gavaran, the jungle. It's a nice place. It's, again, very atmospheric. Love the place here, love the design, love the music, but we're not going to stop to smell the roses, unfortunately. We have better things to do, like getting a missile upgrade. Well,
Oh, yeah.
they say upgrade, Killer.
I mean, this one's good, right? Super missile, more damage. No, but they're slower. They shoot slower.
Slower.
It's kind of upsetting. Like, you get a big chunk of damage increase, so you get more bang for your buck per missile. However, because you shoot slower, it's just kind of annoying.
Yeah, it's not really worth it in the end. Say you're trying to damage down a boss, the super missiles will often have worse DPS than the regular missiles. So, for a lot of purposes, it's a downgrade, but we do just need them because they blow up super missile doors like this one, and we can't beat the game without that, as per usual. So we are going to get them, but luckily, we're very shortly going to get another missile upgrade that is going to actually be good. So, you know, we'll get there. For right now, I'm not supposed to really fire a lot of super missiles. There's just like, I think it's 4 super missile doors, and we've already done 3 of them. So ideally, for the entire rest of the run, I should fire 1 more super missile.
And now we're heading through Elon, and Elon is cool. Primarily for story reasons. I'm a big fan.
Unfortunately, we're not going to pay any attention to any of that, obviously.
No. I mean, you'll kind of see stuff related to what happens here.
A little, but like we're going to skip all the actual cutscenes.
Yeah.
At which point it becomes sort of confusing. The basic rundown of it is that there's this alien creature, the X-Parasite, of which a lot of them were locked up in this Elon area, and so we're about to open the seal and release all of them. And from then on, all of the regular enemies that we're fighting throughout the game are actually going to be X-Parasites infecting and mimicking those creatures. That was an accidental super missile usage.
And if you recognize the X-Parasites, yes, they are from Metroid Fusion. They're not all dead. Surprise.
Surprise. Now, the cool part is that enemies infected with X do sort of drop that X-Parasite when defeated, and we can absorb that. And those restore missiles and health the same way that you would normally get pickups from enemies. But they restore a little bit more than they used to, so the game sort of scales up a bit here. You know, the enemies are getting tougher, but you're also getting a little bit more worth out of it when you kill them. And this gets us the plasma beam. This is just a permanent beam upgrade, much like the
it's
wide
called
beam.
Areo the Plasma.
Sorry, yeah, you're right. My bad. I don't think I ever learned how to read, but the plasma beam makes it so that our beam pierces through enemies, which is very convenient. Of course, it opens plasma beam doors, and it also just increases the damage that our beam does by quite a lot. So overall, just a very nice ability to have. Very happy to see it. It's going to make short work of this here mini-boss.
Yep.
No, actually, this is a full-fledged boss. It's on the map and everything.
Is it actually counted as a boss?
Yeah, it is.
Are the other ones as well?
Yeah, all of them. It's funny.
Because this is a recurring fight.
It is. No, the robot Chozo soldiers as well as the infected Chozo soldiers are all actually counted as bosses.
Right.
Made a small error there. Gives us time. Killer, why don't you talk about Turbo?
Turbo, yeah. So for the sake of people's hands and keeping them nice and healthy, turbo controls are allowed, but there is like a cap on how fast you're allowed to use the turbo, because essentially in this game, you can shoot about as fast as you can mash. So to just allow unlimited turbo controls is just too broken, so they capped it at like a reasonable enough level whereby most people that can mash reasonably fast can kind of keep up.
Yep. It's the cap is 12 hertz, and sort of if you're really good at mashing, you can probably get up to like 15. Now I'm not, right? But you know, you could probably.
Yeah.
So still, mashing does still provide some amount of advantage if you really are like top level. But the rest of us don't have to throw out our hands, which is great. Excellent decision by the community, in my opinion.
That's
Very
a cool
happy
little
about
thing
that.
you just did there is when you get on the button and you do the free aim, you're kind of like stopping your tracks so that you
Activating
can just,
free aim immediately cancels all of your running momentum, including if you were speed boosted. So
doing that on top of a button is great.
exactly. That way we can sort of aim precisely where we want to stop running, so we can hit all these like pressure switches without needing to like awkwardly correct.
There are so many micro optimizations in this game.
It's very cool. It's really I love it so much. It's one of my favorite speed games that I've ever played.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It's definitely the one that I'm best at, I think, overall. In any event, having released the X from Elon and acquired the plasma beam, we head back into Gavoran again, where we are just going to be going through sort of these same rooms as before. Dang it. We are on our way to, in a minute, destroy the Gavoran Emmy, the blue Emmy Moran, who was briefly on screen, but deactivated. So she was frozen in her tracks, and we couldn't interact with her or anything. But now, with our new abilities, we can make our way to the central unit and dispatch her, and she's also reactivated again, so we will have to actually dodge her this time.
And that's also you'll notice that because we opened the door to where the X parasites are located, they are now everywhere and they're infecting everything and kind of just almost powering up a lot of the enemies. So the upscaling is real.
Shoot.
The Emmy we're dealing with here as well is like ice-based, so it can freeze you up, so you really do not want to get hit by it at all.
Now, luckily, to compensate, her sort of range of eyesight is much smaller than any of the others. So she's actually probably the single easiest one to dodge.
And there you saw another water bomb jump.
Yep. That was one of the sequence breaks that we were alluding to earlier, where we do an underwater bomb jump to get through up to the left side of that room. Normally, you'd have to go around the right side, up on that door in the top right, and acquire the, what's it called again, the double jump.
Yeah.
I
Lovely
forget
shine
the
spark
name.
into this room as well.
Gets rid of the armor on the central unit immediately. And so this is going to set us up nicely to go take care of Moran. And this is actually kind of a cool Emmy kill. I like this one a lot. Earlier when we were sort of dropping down into here, I opened that door up in the top right, now in the top left. And so now that that's unlocked, I can actually kite Moran to come through there, which makes her easy pickings for me with this like long range beam that we have from the central unit. So I can just sort of take my time, slowly take the armor off, and then finish it up by the time that she gets around far enough that she's going to fall down in a convenient location, same as we did with the yellow Emmy. So that's very nice.
I will note it is like learning the game initially, it is really hard to aim across that entire area very precisely at its face. The hitbox is not huge.
And it moves.
Yep.
It moves, so that's another thing. But obviously, I've done this a couple of times. You know, this ain't my first rodeo, as they say. So I know what I'm doing.
Now we have Missile de Hielo.
Excellent. This is the ice missile. This is another permanent upgrade to the missile. Our missiles are just all ice missiles now. There's no two ways about it. We no longer have the original missile or the super missile. They're just gone. And all the better, because the ice missiles not only freeze enemies, as the name implies, but they also do yet more damage than the super missiles did, and they fire at the original rate of the original missiles. So our missiles actually do a lot of damage now. Like a lot. And we're going to be using them as our main source of damage on several boss fights and other stuff going forward. These are going to be very, very useful. There is one more missile upgrade that's coming up, but that one is also kind of useless. And that one luckily doesn't override the missiles you already have. So we're just going to mostly ignore it, which is nice. And once again, Metroid Dread has awfully long loading zones. So if the host, if the host wants to say anything, this is a great time.
I do indeed. I do indeed. I would like to encourage you to support our event for free with your Twitch Prime Gaming subscription to unlock exclusive emotes and show your support. Now featuring a bunch of new emotes. And if you are enjoying this event, be sure to check out more on-site speedrunning events from our partners. UKSG Blue 2024 takes place in Glasgow, Scotland on October the 12th to the 13th, and NSG Fall 2024 takes place in Gjerdrum, Norway from September 20th to the 22nd. If you're looking for more speedrunning content, please go check them out. Thank you very much. Back over to you.
Very good skip. That skip is very hard to do.
Yep. I made that look decently easy. It's not.
No.
It's really not. This one of those things where you practice it to hell and back until you can do it blind, basically. I must have had, like, at this point, 30 hours just sat there grinding that trick. It is not easy.
I'm pretty sure when I ran the game, I used the pseudo wave that you can also use to get near from the other end.
There's an alternative. There's going to be, you can see it actually in a second. There's this little explodable block up top above us right now. You would be able to pseudo wave from up above that where we ran through earlier and hit it from there and then enter the space jump area backwards. That's the alternative to doing what I just did. I could never get the hang of it. I'm not like I'm not good at pseudo waves in general.
That one is also very inconsistent because you have to wait for the enemy below to hit a specific part of its animation in order to have that explosion from your diffusion beam hit the block.
It's a whole thing.
Very finicky.
So I've stuck with the sort of the other strat. It's not exactly older. We found it maybe like a couple hours before that one. This is like old stuff too. This early space trick that I just did, we found that like day 2. I say we, you know, it wasn't me, but the community at large.
Yeah.
But in any event, all that was early space jump, so we now have the space jump. Very useful ability. We've already used it a couple of times there. It allows us to just sort of jump in midair infinitely forever. You can only do it while you're spinning, but luckily in this game you can start spinning whenever you want, so very convenient. Obviously, useful movement ability. We're going to use that to then do another sequence break in just a second, which is going to actually be like sort of the point of it all. Just doing early space jump all by itself wouldn't really save any time, but the fact that it enables this other sequence break coming up is really what does it. But it'll take us a minute to get to that. Yep, good. I skipped that missile tank. That's actually kind of important, not getting that one.
And one of the cool things about getting early space jump is we entirely bypass another ability that exists in the game, which is, I think it's called jump boost or something.
Spin boost.
Spin boost, that was
Spin
it.
boost.
And it allows you one additional double jump. It's kind of whatever.
Yeah, you get it like 20 minutes before the space jump. It's the ability that we skipped by doing that underwater bomb jump in Gavoran, and it's just like, it feels good while you have it, and then 30 minutes later you get the space jump, and it's just like,
oh, okay.
What was the point of that?
Yeah.
So it's a bit silly, and we don't have to get it for the speedrun, luckily. Anyway, we just took a teleporter back down to Artaria, as it very helpfully says on screen. And so in here, we're going to use the space jump, as well as every other new ability that we've acquired since the long time ago that we were in here, to sequence break our way to yet another upgrade. First things first, I'm going to do the only downward shine spark you're going to see this entire time.
I love doing that.
I'm gonna melee through that guy, flash shift over here, sort of weave through this place, yada, yada, yada. All of these new abilities are coming into play to navigate through these rooms that we've been through before.
And now we have got the cold rooms.
Yep. This is what I was talking about before. There's a couple cold rooms here that we need to get through. There we go. I just have to wait for that enemy to get out of the way.
Pick up E-tanks here.
Exactly.
That then like a hot room earlier.
No, not even.
No?
We never go through any heat rooms without the Varia suit in this run.
Oh, no, you're right.
No point to it. There we go. All right, so I'm going to do yet another underwater bomb jump.
This is the big one.
This is the big one. This enables us to do early screw, which is going to get us the screw attack early. I'm just going to sort of rub up against this wall until I get a boost up there. Yep. Okay, turning back around. Don't mind me, fellas.
Yep.
You didn't see anything.
Well, that space boost, space jump trick there is very odd because like somehow if you jump right below a ceiling, it kind of like wants you to extend your next jump or something like that. It's odd, but it helps us get up here, so awesome.
Yeah. The way that that trick works is very similar to the way that Adam's save skip worked much earlier in the run, as well as Maga's skip even before that. as well as pressure pad skip before that. The way that Samus interacts with walls in this game is just sort of weird. Again, if you want to look into that further, I encourage it. It's all very interesting, but I don't have time to explain it right now.
There. Very nice.
Yep. Yet another underwater bomb jump helps us get some wall jumps to escape the screw attack area without having the gravity suit, which is very nice.
Attack espiral, as I saw.
Indeed. And then we just simply do early screw again, because unfortunately the exit of this room is all the way up at the top here, so we need to get back through that little area before we can leave. But yeah, why don't you tell everybody what the screw attack actually does?
So the screw attack kills almost everything completely instantly. It is absolutely fantastic. And it allows us to do just the chunks of damage to bosses. But it's dread mode, so it's not entirely... You know, if you can kill it with the screw attack, that's perfectly fine, but... A boss that we would use screw attack against otherwise would now not work, and you'll see that later.
Yeah, because for some enemies, if you hit them with the screw attack, they just die. For others, even if they don't instantly die, you at least don't take any damage in return from touching them, because the screw attack does provide you with some amount of invincibility.
Yeah.
But some very rare enemies, mostly a couple bosses later on, still just do contact damage even if you hit them with the screw attack. So we can't actually use it against them in dread mode the way that we would normally. So our damage output on those bosses is going to be significantly lower, which means the fights take longer, which sucks because it's dread mode and everything is instant kill. You sort of see the problem here.
Dread mode fun and painful.
Oh, yeah. Now, all of this is, this little sequence here is what I like to call the teleportal extravaganza. We're just going through several warps all in a row, just making our way around this whole world. This is the fastest way to get to where we're going, but it's kind of stupid because of all these loading zones.
And this is why I always wanted to have elevator music during the teleporter segments.
It's just quiet.
Yeah.
It's just quiet, and it's so weird. Like, there's little teleporter sounds, and sometimes there's, like, rain sounds, and it's just, like, it's chill, but it's a little bit eerie.
Yeah. Hydration. You know what? That's a good idea, actually.
Okay. Moving right along, we're back in Gavaran. We're going to do yet another tiny bit of movement before grabbing another teleporter. And right here, there's a missile tank that I'm forced to get. Unfortunately, can't. That's the reason I wanted to skip that one in Dyron earlier, in case you caught that. So I'm just using a bunch of different abilities to make our way through these tunnels. The idea here is that you use, like, the scanner or whatever it is that we skipped. We're just never going to even bother with that to find out, like, which blocks to shoot and with what weapon. But, of course, I know which blocks to shoot and with what weapon because I've been here before. So we won't need that, which is great.
So welcome to another teleporter.
Yeah. Whoa. I lost my breath there. It's a long loading zone, as before. Host, take it away.
Okay, €5 from Not Ravenbeak. Seamus, listen to me. You have no chance of victory against Ravenbeak. He's too strong for you. His arm cannon would blast your armor in an instant, and he physically has the upper hand in close quarters as well. The best course of action would be to surrender. He is a wise and powerful Chozo warrior, and will most certainly be magnanimous towards you if you drop your weapons. He also has cooler armor. Thank you very much indeed.
Suspicious.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm gonna take that advice. Oh, I'm supposed to charge a Shine Spark there. Whoopsie daisies. Let me just. Oh.
There we go. You could just about charge a Shine Spark here. And that is required to go through this whole section here.
Okay.
Very good.
I was scared for my life there. Well, no, I'm scared for not hitting the Shine Spark. Nothing can kill me there, but, you know, still. All right. All of that gets us through to this sort of deep area in Barinia, Barinia 3. We're going to make our way up to this sort of air tank or something that it is. We're going to shoot a sequence of blocks here to get the tank to fall. And that is going to break open a bridge. Those of you who've played Super Metroid will appreciate this one. And we'll just sort of make our way over here now that it's open. And this gets us everybody's favorite upgrade, the Magic Pancakes. Or as they're properly called, the Gravity Suit, of course. Let's see what it is in Spanish, huh? Traje gravitatorio. Right, well, that makes sense. I assume that means suit of gravity, which makes sense. So now, water no longer obstructs us in any way whatsoever. We can now flash shift in water, use the speed booster in water. We move just the same as we normally do in water now. All that sort of stuff. Very convenient. I'm going to pick up one last missile upgrade here. And then we're heading into a very difficult boss fight. So I'm going to keep quiet for a bit.
Yep.
Let Killer take it over.
So remember that one robot fight? Yeah, we got two of them now. And, well, one of them is a lot shinier.
No, they're both shiny.
Are they? Oh, that's the other fight I'm thinking of.
We do them in the wrong order.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. So, because they're shinier, let's just say they got a lot more health. And they still kind of like hop between specific spots in order to find ground to attack you on. So we kind of just sit near edges to guide them around if we have to, and then just blast them as fast as we can with our lovely turbo control blaster. It is the best way to deal damage to them.
By a long shot. Okay, I'm very surprised that I got that first try. That's easily one of the hardest parts of Dread Mode. Obviously, I played it a little bit safe because I don't want to die a little bit more than normal when I'm at a marathon. But still, it's just difficult not to die there, so I'm really happy. Once again, though, we are taking a teleportal back to where we were before, so host?
Okay, we have received 30 euros from QX. Love from Detail's sister and her partner. Teach that greedy corvid Ravenbeak not to steal all the Metroid bread. Thank you so much indeed. And can I just say a massive shout out to all the family members donating here, by the way. Detail, you're getting an awful lot of love. It's fantastic to see. Thank you so much for all the donations towards Mind. We're actually only 60 euros short of 4,500 euros raised. So let's see if we can get that before the end of the run. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for the generosity. I really appreciate it.
You know, I think I get it now. The final boss is Ravenbeak. A raven is a bird. Bread.
Birds like bread.
Yeah.
It's true. I
We're
think my sister might be onto
protecting
something.
this loaf of bread.
That's been the plot of the game the whole time.
Incredible.
All right, so unfortunately, that enemy can spawn in several random locations, and you can see it as you pass through the room below, but I wasn't paying attention to it because I was listening to Tim. And so I didn't realize that he was right in front of the door. So, whoops.
So this is where like the X-Parasites kind of become bigger boss fights in the game. And if you do it right, you can set up Shine Sparks in this room just about to deal huge chunks of damage and like skip a whole ass phase. It's really good. But it is tight and you're not going to have many windows for it. So normally, oh, very good. Normally, like you can use Screw Attack.
That is so
to hit
fucking
the
hard.
X-Core. We can't use Screw Attack on the X-Core, but getting another Shine Spark takes care of it.
Alrighty. That gets us the Cross Bomb, which is easily the most sad and useless ability in the game. It's required in this room, a room in Farinia later, and then like a couple of missile tanks if you're going for 100%. And it's just...
You can use it for a bit more damage on the final boss.
That too, which is nice, I guess. But like in any percent, we literally only get that upgrade because we have to.
Yeah.
Because not only do we need it to get through those rooms, to that room just there and that room in Farinia later, but also you just straight up can't make it to Hanubia without killing that boss and collecting the item because that's just where the doors go. I don't know. So we really would prefer not to do that, but we have to.
Yep.
So here we are. Anyway, that gets us to Hanubia, which is the last sort of proper region of the game. It's very short, but we're going to make two separate visits to it because in order to fully complete it, we still need to head back down into Farinia one last time. So this first visit to Hanubia is going to be very brief. We're just going to quickly make our way down to the elevator to the south and then get into Farinia from there. Now I'm going to do something a little bit silly here. I'm going to shoot that guy. On any percent NMG, normally I would just damage tank it, but as established, I cannot do that on Dread Mode.
So now we're gonna do like, you kind of like spin around while grappling, which kind of like, because there's a slight 3D element to it, you kind of swing the grapple hook around to the other end of the block.
Yep. very convenient there. That's called a pseudo grapple, since it's essentially a pseudo wave with the grapple beam.
Yeah.
The only reason that works is like you said, is because there's a third dimension to all of this, right? There's a z-axis that you don't really normally get to see, and the grapple beam blocks don't have full collision on all sides on that axis, so you can actually sort of jam the grapple beam in there without doing it properly, which is
really cool.
It doesn't skip that much. The normal way through that room is just a little tunnel at the top, but doing that pseudo grapple saves a couple of seconds.
Yeah, it's like
So it's
5
nice.
seconds or something.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not even sure if it's that, but it's still nice. All right, that brings us to our last visit to Farinia, and now this part is going to be fairly difficult. There's a lot of booby traps. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
So there's these mines in the floor. We've seen them a couple times throughout Dyron and Farinia. And so I know where they all are, but it can be easy to get caught up in trying to go fast, like just there. It's just like, oh, I'll just flash shift. I'll go right past it. No, you won't. No, you won't. The mines are always faster than you. So the speed booster is a good way to deal with them because you can just go invincible. But right here, I should just be waiting for it to jump up and then running below it, whoopsie, before it explodes. So that's what I'm going to do from here on out. Now, it'd be great if that guy would not spawn up there. He's supposed to be a little bit further away, but fate is cruel today, I suppose. In any event, we're here in Farinia, like I said, because we need to get a couple more things done in order to complete Hanubia. And that being, there's just a couple more upgrades that we need. So we are going to pick up the upgrade from the Farinia Emmy, mostly. That's the main thing. But there's also a couple other things that we need to get there. So we're just going to be in Farinia for quite a while, actually, going about picking up these upgrades. So right here, this is our introduction to the Farinia Emmy, the purple one. I like to name him Fairy. And Fairy's whole thing is that he's got a whole lot of range on his eyesight, and he can see straight through walls. And also he shoots these paralyzing projectiles, and those also go through walls. So, you know, he's sort of harder to dodge than any of the other Emmys so far. That still doesn't mean he's very difficult to dodge, though. Or at the very least, if he does see you, the repercussions to that in any percent, practically speaking, are just that you have to wait a little while before the door unlocks, because he'll forget about you pretty quickly. But sometimes not quickly enough, and you do have to wait. Anyway, I ran straight into that guy there. That is no one to blame but myself. I'm supposed to, like, jump over him so I can hit him with the screw attack, right? But
yeah, because you can
mess
jump
that up.
right over there.
There we go. Not that difficult, but sometimes that happens. Okay, that was a little too close for comfort. Anyway, that brings us to our next boss fight. This is going to be SQ. Killer, why don't you take this one?
Yeah, this boss I really like, personally. You can only set a shine spark from outside the room. You can just give a big old chunk for a big chunk of damage. Then you screw attack him all the way up until he becomes like the X core. And now we cannot use the screw attack anymore, so we just use ice missiles. Again, in non-dread mode, you can just screw attack him for big chunks of damage. No problem at all. But tagging him with the screw attack will kill us due to contact damage and dread mode.
But there we go. That's the multi-missile. That's a good name.
Multi-missile.
This is the storm missiles in English, which are these like super weapons where you charge them up for a while and you lock onto a bunch of targets at once, and then all these tiny little missiles fly out and they seek out those targets all by themselves. It's super cool. I really like the design of it. Unfortunately, it's very poorly implemented. They just cost too many missiles to use, so the damage is not really worth it, also because they're so slow to fire. And so in the end, sort of the only way that we actually use them, at least in the speedrun, but honestly even casually, is just to open storm missile doors. That's really the only incentive for them. We're not even going to use them on bosses or anything. Their damage just isn't worth it. So it's a little bit sad, but we do very much need those in order to make it to where we can get the ability from the Emmy, which we will then in turn need to actually beat the game. Oops. All right. Well, this is going to be interesting. I should have tried to parry that, but here we are.
Very nice.
Once again, just glad I didn't die there. Would have been very easy to. So glad I didn't. Same as with the other Robot Chosen Soldier fight before. We are now done fighting those, luckily. This is the other use of the cross bombs that we actually need. I'm not sure that you can get through there with regular bombs. Honestly, maybe you can. I genuinely don't know. I'm pretty sure the cross bombs are required for that, but not 100%. Anyway, we're going to use the cross bombs here again just for convenience. We don't actually need them there, but I guess since we have them, we may as well go a little bit faster. And that gets us back into the Emmy zone here. I shouldn't have jumped there. Whoopsie daisy. Alley-oop. Go into this little tunnel here. Whoa, narrowly dodged that projectile. It really wouldn't have mattered if we got hit by it. It would have just cost a couple of seconds from us being stunned. Or no, wait, this is Dread Mode. I'm lying. We would have died, and I would have had to backtrack. Hold up. I'm very glad that that didn't hit me.
You gotta remember which mode you're playing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point in the run... Listen, I wasn't going to say anything, okay? Nobody heard me start any sentences.
It's totally fine.
We're just going to move on.
RNG manipulation or something.
Yeah, exactly. If I didn't do that now, I wouldn't be able to instantly kill the guy. There we go. One quick Shine Spark to take off the armor, and then a screw attack will dispatch this central unit.
I love that combination.
Very quickly. So that's nice. We're just done with that already, and so now we can take our Omega Cannon and go take care of the Emmy that's in here. And that's actually, there's this little convoluted maze below us. There's a bunch of different things you can do here to actually take care of this Emmy. Some of which are like very difficult but very fast, where you sort of kite it around and you jump over it and do all sorts of crazy stuff. I'm not going to do any of that because it's hard and I don't want to. Certainly not on a marathon. But instead, I'm just going to make my way to this cute little corner over here, just past this block. And I'm just going to sort of stand here and wait. I'm going to start firing in advance just to make sure I do actually get my damage, but, you know. As soon as he breaks through the blocks, he'll just start taking a little bit of damage on his faceplate. Then we're going to keep that up just for a bit. And when he comes out of this tunnel in front of us, he should be just about ready to pop. At which point we have just enough space to charge up the big blast and end this whole encounter.
Yeah, this is pretty tight on this one. In general, this Emmy is quite...
Not really.
You don't have a lot of space to deal with him.
I mean, not right there, but if you go one more floor up through that maze, you can just sort of stand all the way in the corner and literally just, without aiming, just do all of that. Just literally hold the gun, and that's it. You don't have to do anything else. So, you know, the safe strat here is incredibly safe. It's super easy, but even this is totally doable.
Rayo de Sanda.
Rayo de Andas. That's the wave beam. So now we will actually not ever need to do any pseudo waves again, because with the wave beam, we can now do real waves. We can just shoot through walls straight up. And that also allows us to open wave beam doors naturally. So that's convenient as well. Oh, okay. Gonna have to just shoot this guy because I messed that up. A little unfortunate, but there we are. And now with the wave beam, we can actually go and get back to Hanubia and beat that place properly now. But, of course, there's a long loading zone before we get there, so host, by all means.
Okay, we have €5 chipping in from our couch commentator, Baguette SG. Thanks for having me as co-commentator. Loving the bread mode run. I'm proud of you, Detail. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Philippe.
What a wholesome Baguette.
Indeed, indeed.
We're basically best friends at this point.
Okay. Back in Hanubia, I'm going to immediately charge a speed booster. That gets us through this robot. Then I'm going to climb up in here and shine spark through this robot. It's a cute little strat. Doesn't save all that much time, but it is cool. Then we're going to have a whole little cutscene that sort of explains about how Samus has like Metroid powers and stuff now. And then I'm going to die. This is obviously intentional. No, like there's some more plot stuff happening, but obviously we're skipping that. You know, no time.
The cool thing about Metroid in general, a lot, but this game does it especially well, is there's a lot of visual storytelling in this game. Of course, you got like Adam explaining things here and there, but there's so many things in the background as well you can see when going around. It's just really cool.
For sure, for sure. Okay, Crimson here is not being particularly nice. We've gotten a couple slow patterns now. Just sort of had to be careful because otherwise he would have hit me. Not great, but, you know, it'll do probably. There we go. All right, just have to parry him just as with the first one. There we go. Now, there's one more of these to fight, and of course they get tougher as we go, right? Crimson here had more health than the original Infected Tozo Soldier, and a shield, and also a couple new moves, particularly ones associated with that shield. So he's a little bit tougher, but he still doesn't actually have all that much health, especially now that we have the Wave Beam, which also does increase damage, by the way. But the next one coming up very shortly, actually, they're pretty much back-to-back, will have a lot more health and just be a little faster and everything. So that one is genuinely going to be a bit of a challenge. I might die to that. But Crimson is not usually much of a threat, even on Dread mode.
Now we have Bomba de Energia.
Yeah, which is the power bombs. If you've played any other Metroid games, again, you'll know this one. But in this game, you do have to charge up before you can use a power bomb. They are still an expendable resource, but you also have to charge. And so I'm just going to do that here. That's going to blow up some bomb blocks. And then I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to... Oh, shoot. Nope. Okay, didn't quite get that. Unfortunate. If you shoot those drones before the power bomb goes off and kills them for you, you can actually get power bomb pickups. But if a power bomb kills an enemy, you can't get power bomb pickups, right? Or else it would just sort of go infinite. And so... now I don't have any power bombs, but I do still need one, so I'm going to stop at this refill station here just to get some. It doesn't really take that much time, but it would have been faster to... Not be stupid. It would have been faster to get them from the little drone guys, so... It's a little unfortunate, but we'll live. There we go. Ball spark through that, that ceiling right after we power bomb it. Very nice. Get us up there real quick.
I don't think we explained at all why we go into Morph Ball in order to do that spark. Or some of the others.
No, you can go ahead and do that if you feel like it.
If you go into normal Shine Spark at a certain couple of spots in the game, it kind of gives you the cinematic camera to see you like really cool sliding upwards and such. But if you Ball Spark, you kind of just don't get that cinematic camera and you just go a little bit faster.
Yep. We're going to do that one more time later. We've done it twice now already. But the main reason that we actually Ball Spark there is just because there's... Sorry, no, we've only done it once. Sorry, there is no cinematic camera in that room just now. That's my bad. That's later.
No, you're right.
Oh, that's embarrassing. I messed up the berry timing. Oh, well, we'll just do it again. No. But the reason we ball spark there actually is just because we just laid a power bomb, so it's just convenient to immediately spark. And so that happens to be a ball spark because you can only lay bombs while you're a ball.
Yeah, the room I was thinking of is kind of visually similar in a way.
Now, we did do one of those little cutscene skips earlier in Dire, and one of the very first Shine Sparks we did was actually one of those. I haven't missed the parry timing on one of these in like so long. I think I got complacent. You know, hubris got the better of me, as it tends to do, of course. It's like the bane of every speedrunner in the end. A little bit of cockiness. But here we are. As you eloquently put it 2 years ago, we're going to travel into space via Dragon Ball Space Capsule.
Yep.
This gets us to the final region of the game. It's just a boss arena. You know, there's not really anything there.
It's not really a region.
No, I mean, technically it is, right? But, yeah, not
on the
really.
map.
But this is Itarash, the flying fortress of Ravenbeak. So we are here purely to kill Ravenbeak. That's just sort of it.
AKA Bird Dad.
Bird Dad. Now this will be very difficult. So I'm going to give it over to KillerChair for the foreseeable future, because it's entirely likely I'm going to die several times and we'll be here a while. So take it away, big guy.
Yeah, so Ravenbeak has several phases. I don't even know off the top of my head anymore how many there are, because we do skip a phase.
There's 3.
3, there you go.
That phase that we skip is sort of like the half.
Yeah, it's like
the halfway point of phase 1.
Yeah.
But there's 3.
And then the first one, he's got a big barrier. We need to like blast this barrier apart to the point where he does a certain attack.
1, 2,
Then we can parry him. Blow up the black hole 4, that he
5,
throws
6,
out.
7,
Don't stand
8,
in any of the danger.
9.
He's got so many dangerous moves. And now we just damage him just enough so that he is able to do a certain attack, but not enough to like go too far. and then we just hold the button for rapid fire to deal a lot of damage to him. And we'll kind of be using both missiles and there you go. Now we're on to the next phase. We use both missiles and beams, kind of depending on when it's better to use them. So we have a next phase. He shows his wings, flies around. Got a lot of very dangerous moves, dashes, these rapid fire blasts. He's got a lot of things that are kind of similar to what Samus can do herself.
For regular any percent, the second phase would be the hardest one, but for Dread mode, it's just progressive. The third one is harder than the second, and the second is harder than the first.
There is also a cheeky little thing you can do, which is, I think, just unsafe on Dread mode with this attack, whereby you go into a certain power stance and it just shoots over you continually. However, I believe it can chip damage you, which in Dread mode is bad.
The main way that we actually deal with that move normally is the damage tank through it, which obviously we can't do.
And so these big suns that he throws out, you can power bomb. Other than that, we kind of use a combination of missiles and cross bombs. As I mentioned earlier, those do some chip damage to him. And any bit of extra damage we can take is very helpful.
Okay,
Now
from the
again,
top.
any damage that we take is instantly lethal, which means we're going to have to do the fight all over again. This is
tough.
why the estimate is fairly wide, because this fight is genuinely the hardest fight in the game.
Yeah. This is, for Dread mode specifically, bar none, the hardest thing in the game. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And I personally love that they actually made a final boss, which is tough, like really tough.
It's not often that you get a difficult final boss in a Metroid game. Or not like this one, anyway.
Not on this level, no.
I'd say the Prime games do a good job of it, too.
I will eventually play those.
I also just suck at Prime, so maybe it's just me. That game makes me dizzy.
Right, so back to the wing phase. Anytime he holds his gun out and like keeps steady, you know that's got to be a big blast. So if you can then dash under him to the other side, you're completely safe. Like the tells on his moves are very well done.
It's a very well-designed boss fight. Just all throughout.
He really likes this move today.
He always does. That's normal. This is his single favorite thing to do in this phase, and it's really annoying in Dread mode specifically. Normally, we'd be very enthusiastic to see that attack just because you can damage tank through it so easily, but not so here.
Now back to final phase again.
This is easily the hardest one, and this is the attack I least want to see.
Yep.
This thing
very
sucks
scary.
so much. Okay.
So it's better to take it safe on that.
Absolutely.
Cool thing about transitioning into this phase as well, if you do not skip the cutscene, he like rips out his own wings.
It's really sick, but obviously we don't want to have to wait, so.
Personally, when I first learned the game, the thing I struggled the most with during this fight is just his regular old claw swipes.
It's tough.
Those come out of nowhere.
Really tough. I'll agree with that.
Laying more cross bombs to get chip damage, and now we need to get some good parries.
Okay.
And then we're on to...
2 tries. Holy moly.
That
Well,
was
no,
brilliant, by the way. I was just sitting there watching that, thinking that was fantastic. Well done.
That is
Very good
very, very difficult. You basically have to play actually perfect. There's very little room for optimizations. You just sort of have to play it safe. But like, there's a couple things that I do that are somewhat risky, like hitting him with 2 missiles on every rotation of the big machine gun attack rather than 1, and so on and so forth. There's a couple of things. But obviously, I've done this a lot of times. There's a couple of things I know how to do. But man, that fight. So this is a glorified cutscene here. I am actually holding gun, and I do very much need to, but that's all you have to do. There is a way to speed this up, a little exploit that just makes that cutscene go by just a little bit quicker. by like not holding the gun the entire way through. I don't actually know how to do it. I still have not bothered to look into it after all these years.
Yep.
It saves a decent chunk of time, maybe like 5 seconds, but it is obviously a little bit risky. So I don't really like the idea of going for that, even though, you know, that kind of time save is the sort of thing that I'm looking at this point. There's a fairly famous clip of another speedrunner who actually taught me a lot of the things that I know how to do in this game, who's an absolute homie, Keku. He's much better at this game than I am also. And there's a clip of him messing up that quick strat and just like utterly losing it when he looks back at the screen and realizes that he's been eaten by Ravenbeak. It's so funny. Love that clip. Anyway, this is just classic Metroid business. There's just a big escape sequence where we have to make our way through Hanubia, but it's all falling apart and about to blow up and everything. And we now have the Metroid suit, which makes us immune to everything, and the Hyper Beam, which is really strong. This is that Shine Spark that skips a cutscene that we were talking about. We do that as a ball to skip a little cinematic. And then I'm going to try to get a cool speed boost here. Dang it. Unmorph just a little too early. Otherwise, I would have been able to Shine Spark into the final cutscene. Time will be coming up now.
GG.
Very well underestimated as well.
This is a PB by 12 minutes.
Congratulations. Well done.
And a bit. I have a 151.30 something, I think. So like 12 and a half minutes.
Even Philippe looked shocked.
Thanks, Philippe.
What a bro.
God. Bird Uncle, best character, by the way. We didn't get to see him because we skipped all of the cutscenes, but Bird Uncle is best boy. Dude, my heart is like, I need a second, you know? Like, okay.
Understandable.
Oof. I don't even know why I'm so on edge. Like, after you kill Ravenbeak, there's just nothing, right? The escape can't kill you, even on Dread mode. There's nothing that can deal damage to you. So, like, I don't know why I'm so tense. I mean, it's because the run ended, of course.
That Ravenbeak fight, again, I've got to say, was absolutely stunning. Well done.
It's not easy. Anyway, before we get too long-winded here, let me sort of end things off. This is going to be my last business here at BSG for this year. I did a couple hosting shifts and a couple runs, and I will be going back home tomorrow. So thanks a lot for having me, and thanks a lot to everybody for watching my runs and supporting me and everything. Thanks, Killer, for the controller yesterday. That came in clutch.
You're welcome.
Thanks for commentating. Thanks, Philippe, also, of course.
He's wearing shades now.
But yeah, big shout out to everybody here at the venue. My friends who have been very helpful over the past couple days. Because if you were here at the venue, you'll know I've had some stuff going on. So, you know, big thank you to Valissa, Someone, Zonaris, Naomi, everybody else that I've been hanging out with, talking to. I really appreciate you all very, very much, and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Hopefully, I'll actually be able to make it to one of the smaller events sometime. You know, praying, but we'll see. I'm very happy with how this run turned out. And
yeah, this was crazy.
Big shout out to Dying Keto again. I miss you, buddy. I really hope you can make it next year. And thanks for getting me here. And yeah, shout out to all of these lovely people who made the game. By the way, credits, hooray! I love it. But I think that will be all from me. So over to you and over to whatever the next run is. I'm not sure, actually.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Can we please have a massive round of applause for the amazing detail? That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much indeed. We do have another run coming up for you very shortly. We have the Pokemon Sapphire run by Ekman Larson that's coming up shortly. I will be handing off as well to the fantastic KillerChair.
That's me.
So
that's him.
I will be bidding you good evening. Thank you so much indeed. Keep your donations coming in for Mind. We will be right back after this short intermission.
One. Let's go.
Let's go, guys.
Super Mario 64 70 star.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, this category is basically any percent, no major skips, no MIPS clip, no BLJs, or just, yeah, there are a lot of glitches.